Hello, my name's Susanna, and today we're going to look at percent change. So that's the percent by which a quantity increases or decreases from its initial value. So we use a particular formula for this, and I'm just going to write that here. Okay, so percent change is given by this symbol, the percentage and the capital C. And we have V to the subscript F, subtract V to the subscript I, all divided by V to the subscript I times 100%. So this is the formula that we use in order to work out questions involving percent change. So again, there are different methods that you can use with these types of questions, but this is the easiest formula to use, especially initially. So remember that this symbol represents the percent change, and V to the subscript F is the final value, and V to the subscript I is the initial value. Okay, so these are all the three different values that we use in these types of questions. And this is the formula we use here. Okay, so we're going to look at the first question. So there's a little bit of writing involved here. So the regular price of an item is $280. Find the discount as a percentage if the item goes on sale for $210. Okay, so again, some of these questions do get quite lengthy with the information it gives you, and then obviously we have to extract the information then to do the sort of math around that. So the regular price of an item is $280. Find the discount as a percentage if the item goes on sale for $210. So we can see here that we want to find what the discount is as a percentage. So it's going to be a percent change that we need to look for here. So we're going to use our percent change equation, which I'm just going to repeat here as a reminder. Okay, so we know that it's a percent change that we want to find, which is given by this symbol. We're going to identify that this value, $280, is our V to the I value, so our initial value of this item. Then we apply a discount, and so it becomes this value, 210, which is our final value, so V to the F. So once we establish those correct values, then we can substitute them into the equation here. We have our final value, which is the $210. We're going to subtract from our initial value 280, and then we're going to divide by that initial value, 280. And then we're going to multiply by 100%. So now again, use the calculator to do this calculation. That's going to give us a negative value at the top here. So we're going to get negative 70 over 280, and then we can multiply it by the 100%. So if you complete that calculation on the calculator, we're going to get an answer of negative 25. And because it's the percent change that we're finding, that's going to give us our value here, negative 25%. So we know that the discount change, the value is decreasing of the item. So hence the negative value there. So again, on the calculator, it gives us the negative value, but we can interpret that's a decrease of 25%. So we can actually write that in words in that way. Okay, so now we're going to look at another question here. So with this question, a patient's systolic blood pressure was 135 in the morning. If it increased to 190 in the evening, what is the percent increase in the patient's systolic blood pressure? So again, we need to work out what values we're given in the question. So the blood pressure in the morning, this value is going to be our initial value, V to the I, and the blood pressure in the evening is our V to the F, our final value here. And we want to find what is the percent increase in the blood pressure. So it tells us it's an increase, we're going to get a positive value on the calculator. So again, we're going to use our formula, percent change, and we're going to put in our values accordingly. So the percent change is what we want to find. We are looking at the final value. So that's going to be our 190, subtract our initial value, which is our 135, and we're going to divide by that initial value, 135, times 100%. So again, use the calculator. We can do that subtraction on the calculator. So that's going to give us 55 divided by 135 times 100%. And then again, if you continue on the calculator, 55 divided by 135 is going to give you decimal. So actually it's going to give you 0.407407. Those are going to be repeated, but then we have to multiply by 100%. And because we don't have an exact answer here, we're going to round to 2 decimal places. Okay, so I'm getting this answer on the calculator, and it continues to infinity. So we're going to just default to writing this to 2 decimal places. So the decimal point here, we're going to look at the 3rd digit after the decimal. It's 0, so it doesn't change the number before. So we're going to just write this to 2 decimal places. Remember, it's a percent change. And I just abbreviate it to let us know that we've rounded it to 40.74. We're going to put in the percent sign there to complete the context of the answer here in the question. So now we can see that in the morning it was 135, it raised to 190 in the evening, and so the percent increase was 40.74% there, using this formula and just rounding that answer to 2 decimal places. Okay, and the third question that we're going to look at is this one here. So this is the third type of question with percent change. So a pair of pants increased in price by $2.75. If this amounted to an increase of 11% on the new price, find the price of the item before the increase. So again, lots of information to sort of digest. Okay, so we're going to look at what values were given here. So this $2.75, the pants are increased by that price. So what that represents for our equation is our value of our final value, subtract our initial value. So we've done that subtraction to get that value of $2.75. Now we've got a percentage that we need to write as a decimal. So again, remember, just divide that value by 100%, and that's going to give us the decimal value that we will use in our calculator, 0.11. And the price of the item before the increase is the amount that we want to find, and this is going to be our initial value, V to the I. Okay, so once we've identified those correctly, now we can use the formula to work out for this particular question. So again, just a reminder of the formula here. that we're using. So we're going to use our percent change equation. The percent change is equal to our final value subtract our initial value divided by initial value times 100%. Now, we've already written our percentage as a decimal, so 0.11. So it means we don't have to look at the 100% on this side. Okay, so for the numerator here, the final value subtract the initial value. We've already got that particular value, 2.75, that's been applied here. And then we can divide it by our initial value, which is what we want to find, our v to the I. So now we're just going to use our algebra skills to rearrange this so that we can find our initial value. The easiest way to do that is to make the left-hand side a fraction by just putting it over 1. And now we can do what we call cross multiply. Okay, so this is a clever technique in math when we have a fraction equal another fraction. So we can look at doing it either way, but 0.11 and multiplying it v to the I is equal to 1 multiplied by 2.75, which is just going to give us 2.75 here. So because we want to find what the initial value is here, v to the I, we know that we're multiplying it by 0.11. So when we take it over, we need to divide. And if you do that on the calculator, that should give you a value of 25. Okay, but because this is an initial value and it's a dollar amount, you know, we understand that to mean $25. So this is now the new price of the pair of pants. Okay, so from our question. Now remember, our question is asking us find the price of the item before the increase. Okay, before this 11% increase. So we have to do one extra step here so that we can answer the question correctly. So we've got the new price of the pants, $25. We're going to subtract the difference, the 2.75, and that's going to give us the new value of the pants when we do that subtraction, 22.25, but we know that's a dollar amount, and this will give us the price before the increase is applied. So this is the value that we're looking for to finally answer the question. Okay, and you know, again, follow that through carefully so you can kind of see the steps that we used. And this is just one method that we can use for this type of question. Okay, the price of the item before the increase is applied is equal to $22.25. Okay, so now we've done sort of 3 questions to practice with percent change. We're just going to have a look at the key takeaways for this. So first piece of advice, always read the question carefully and make sure you identify those 3 variables, the V to the subscript I, V to the subscript F, and the percent change. My second takeaway is, make sure you change any percentages to decimals by dividing by 100%. So that's always the case with any percentages or percents that we're using. And, also again, when you finish a question, always kind of relate the answer back to the question. So make sure that it makes sense with what you've calculated. If you get the values mixed up, then you're going to get an answer that doesn't make sense. So it's just kind of a quick and simple thing to do. It won't tell you where a mistake is, but you can then sort of swap it around and try again. So just make sure your answer makes sense. And the last piece of advice with a lot of math is practice, practice, practice. Particularly with these types of questions, you know, a lot of wording and a lot of kind of interpretation and that you need to do. So just practice. You'll get more confident and quicker with these types of questions. So there is just one question for you to try. Okay, it is a bit of a lengthy question, as a lot of these are. So please try this yourself, and I'll write the answer for you too. So try this question. When there was a boom in the real estate market, Lucy sold her property for $410,000. This was a 30% increase in the price she paid for it. Calculate the amount she paid for the property. So it should work out to be $315,384.62. Again, make sure you round that answer to 2 decimal places to the nearest cent. If you need extra help, please reach out to me using the links found in the description below. Also, check out our other videos that we're making. Thanks for watching.